Listen, so I have a lot of questions about the landscape. So we got a lot of changes happening from a geopolitical perspective. We got a lot of changes happening from a social perspective. But what I don't see a lot of people talking about are some of the changes that are happening geologically and coming in quick. So Chiefs, I got questions for both of you in regards to what we can expect starting next month as far as anything maybe having to do with like plate tectonics or anything having to do with did you guys have any downloads about any creatures or anything that's going to be coming here to help guide us along, and whether or not we're going to start seeing, because I know for me we got a lot of we got a lot of animals and stuff over here, and I be feeding nature and doing all this stuff, but I was telling somebody that what we're going to see is the return of some of those animals that we used to have like it wasn't nothing, like the elephants, and you had the matriarchs and the sisters who had the jaguars, like the Calipia tribe with the cougars, and how they went ahead and started attacking like the enemies and stuff like that. So I know it's kind of a little bit of a loaded question, but what are y'all's thoughts on what we can expect from a nature and landscape perspective starting next month?
So I don't make predictions, but I can tell you this. If you monitor the shooting resonance in the solar storms that's been going on, that's the only way you're going to know there's changes taking place energetically before you ever see them physically. The Earth and the Sun communicate through an exchange of solar flares matched by shooting resonance spikes.
That's right.
Right? Now, when we're looking at the weather patterns, we can use the Doppler to see where it's cloud formations, and it could go in as far as like days in advance. Right? That gives you tools to your disposal so you don't have to rely on predictions. You can see it in real time, and you can have a probability scope that's pretty accurate. Because if you pay attention to the weatherman, like we did this experiment when I was locked up, when the weatherman said it was going to snow right around 3 o'clock, between 3 and 3:15, we was laughing at him, talking about man can't predict no weather. Only God know what the weather going to be. But God give you precursors.
Yeah.
We call it in gambling, it's called an indicator card. And the indicator card is what the meteorologist is reading. So we go outside the next day for a yard at 3 o'clock. It's not snowing and the sun is shining. I bet that by 3:15 it's going to be snowing. It's still cold out, but the sun is shining. They told me the weatherman don't know what he's talking about. He making that shit up because it's only God know what the weather going to be. And at 3:12 on the dot, it starts snowing.
Turn up.
When it starts snowing, that let them know that they know how to read the indicator, because I'm telling them science is only trying to figure out, as God doing something in real time, how do I understand what happened?
Right.
That's the origin of science, because it helps you to navigate life easier.
Mm-hmm.
The almanacs can be accurate up into years in advance. How in the hell is that possible? It's longitude, latitude, mapped with a stellar alignment. If the stellar alignment is sending this energy on this day at this time, we should expect this reaction from the Earth.
Correct.
Right? And so they write the almanac. Before there was ever a news channel meteorologist or weatherman, the early weathermen used to literally read the almanac to give you the weather. So we already know how to map the weather using stellar alignments and the reaction of Earth to the frequency that comes with it. And that's what that all of that does. So as to what we should expect, if you watch the shooting resonance, you will know that it's doing something that's releasing a massive amount of energy above normal because it's showing us in the spikes.
Yeah.
Right?
And I know.
Earth shooting a resonance responding to the solar flare, send the feminine line codes to their DNA, and it helps them to make the next wave of evolution of the people. So when you see in those shooting spikes, these women is feeling it more than us men, but us men is feeling it in a different way. Right? So I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, but I could tell you the resources to monitor so you can come to your own conclusions.
Yeah, I've been keeping up with like the GOES X-ray flux, some of the planetary K index stuff. I know, and then today, or it may have been yesterday, they had a shift. There was a land shift over in like Nevada somewhere or something like that, and the guy caught it on camera.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got a lot of it. They got in Kentucky a waterfall. They just flew a drone up and found a waterfall, and I believe it's been here all the time. They just didn't see it. They say it just sprung out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You talking about the one in Kentucky?
Yeah.
Ah, man, that shit's so beautiful.
Ain't
it? And we had them all in Alabama, like in the 60s, the 50s. Man, they had these utopias down in Alabama, and again, like you said, the mud floods and all of that. Yeah, they covered them up. But these, every weekend, you gonna see us out there. And it was waterfalls. They should have like Niagara Falls out there, man. Beautiful. Cenotes like we see in the islands and the Yucatan and things of this nature. All of that shit was here too.
You know they just found a pyramid complex in Kentucky too.
Yeah, I seen that, and it was covered up. And I seen a video of this lady. She stopped on TikTok. She like, I'm on the way to work. I pass it every day, but she stopped and got out, and she showed how it was. You know, you had the body of water right there, but all down it, at least 8 pyramid structures going down straight in the road. She like, I got time today. She pulled over, pulled her camera out. She like, I pass by this shit every day. She like, this shit right in our face. But you know, it's covered with grass and shit like that, you know.
Yeah.
They so big that some of them covered with trees and we think they're mountains.
There you go. And I see that in Austin, Texas. Going through there, I'm looking, I'm like, hold on. This shit look like a mountain, but you can see the damn the lines and the blocks, how this shit was placed. Like somebody built this shit.
You ain't lying, bro, because I used to live down there. I used to live in like the Round Rock area, so
that's what I'm talking about. In that part, in the Round Rock area, in the mountains. And when you look at it, the trees growing out of it are not trees that you can grow like fruit or anything from. They not cedar trees, oak trees and no shit like that. You feel me? You can tell somebody planted them. You know, they not even large enough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but yeah, nah, that's definitely what I was talking about around that Round Rock area right there. I noticed that shit. I'm like, hold on, this shit look man-made.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Stone Mountain not natural.
Not at all. Not at all.
Hello, sweetie. How you doing? You been sitting just as patient.
I'm good. How y'all doing? I ain't mean to pop
She's in your area. She's from up top. Let them know where you calling from. I mean, where you from?
Gary, Indiana. How you doing, Chief? It's an honor. It's an honor.
Wait, will you say it again?
I'm from Gary, Indiana.
Oh, okay. Pop it.
Indiana in the building.
Gary, Indiana.
Hey.
Indiana, where I'm from.
Turn up. Shout out to OMBB, Indiana.
So, I just said I had a couple questions. You actually will answer my questions through the live. And Topcast, you asked a question that I actually had about Chicago being, you know, one of the most ancient places. I was gonna say the same thing about Gary. Not only I look at it, it's like I look at it being at the roots of the tree of life, the Mississippi River, and we have so many people coming out of these areas that's around the streams or around the river that make big names or are big influences. So I actually had the same question, but you went into that, so I just wanted to mention that. And also a serious question, because I be trying to be honest with myself. I'm trying to loosen up. So I'm trying to be honest with myself and participate in season this war between the women. So personally, Rod, I would like to know, how do you kill the ego, especially with having, we have women, a lot of people that are born with the nervous systems that are full of hatred and jealousy and all these different things. So how do you kill the ego?
You know what? That's the ascension process. We used to call it the purification of the ego, because when you purify your ego, only your true self can shine through.
Mm-hmm.
So there's processes, and a lot of it is facing your darkest desires and ideas to determine if they even yours. Right? That's the beginning of it. Like, why do you believe this? Like, a lot of women believe in monogamy and it's not natural, right? But they believe in it because of social engineering. When the reason why a lot of us want to go back to it, because that was the strongest cohesive family units we had. Because the women used to work together. And by teaching you to hate your sisters and to be antagonistic and warlike with your sisters was one of their war strategies.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually coming from a conjure that was done by a lady a long time ago. It's called a broken mirror spell.
Okay, here.
Can you hear me?
You can hear?
Keep talking, Rod. I'm gonna go out and come back in.
Okay. The old conjure that's been reversed, but it was designed to stop the women from being able to work together under a family structure. And that's why it's so hard for the women to get along, but they're supposed to be with a certain type of sister. The ones that feel the same way about stuff and think the same way will get along easier than the ones that with opposing ideas. That'll always create the clash. But then you have the ones that got the sensibility to understand guidance and leadership, where they can listen enough to break free from the ego.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you break free from the ego, that don't end your desire to have better out of life. It just take it from desire to now it's an operational formula to get there. Because now you don't have to just wish for it. You can say, I'm going to build a plan and I'm going to make it happen like this.
A functional operation.
Right.
Right.
And once you start realizing that, and then you start tuning in to your higher consciousness through breathing exercises, self-talk, spiritual baths, and grounding exercises. Those are the basics. The earth is going to help you if you trust the earth to ground to it, to correct whatever error you think you might have. Because that's all the ego is. The ego is created by other people's ideas of us that we accepted to be the character that we want to be portrayed.
Right. I can speak for self, and it takes first accountability and honesty with yourself. As a young child, was never really jealous of other women, but just some in me just felt like some, like, I don't know, but I would be in my head like, man, why am I feeling like this towards other women when I think she's beautiful? I want to learn from her. I want to do this. I want to do that. So I've learned a lot of things that I act upon were not my or my thoughts that I go towards are not my thoughts. So
most of us don't know jealousy is a learned behavior. It's not natural.
Right.
And jealousy is taught to us above all other places in the church. If we grow up in the church, by the time they get done preaching jealousy to our heart, we're going to be so good at being jealous that we're going to act on that shit in real life. Mm-hmm. That's the worst thing right now. We don't need the church right now. Church in the way. Government in the way and church in the way. Mosque in the way.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, all Abrahamic religions in the way. And
All of
another thing too.
all of them in the way. The only one of them I keep because they got a good functional structure that we could use to our advantage is the Nation of Islam.
Mm.
And they go back to even indoctrination in the family when you had some of the elders that say they didn't want no dark skinned babies and
Yeah.
yeah, in the South that shit that was prevalent too. Like that's unspoken shit. They didn't like dark skinned babies. So again, like that shit that was something that fucked my head up. I'm like
And
I
you,
don't
if you
know.
ever pay
Yeah,
attention in the South, they treat the light skin, they call them light brights. Or
Right.
the
that
light
right.
brights or the bright ones, they treat them better than everybody else.
Yeah.
So they grow up with this entitled superiority complex
There you
that
go.
keeps skin-based racism within our community right in our house.
Yeah.
Hmm. Like you said, it could be our sister, brother, people that's closest to us.
My mama told me don't participate in that stuff. On my mama's side of the family, this don't exist on my father's side of the family. But on my mother's side of the family, they was aligned by skin color to play favorites. My mama didn't play that shit. So none of them played that with her, but they would play it with each other.
There you go.
And then they tell that shit to their kids. My mama
Yeah.
told me, she said, when you see them doing that shit, don't get involved in it. Ain't got nothing to do with you. That's
Right.
some bullshit they made up before you was ever born.
There you go.
So I never got into it. So when my cousins come around me, I don't tolerate that light skin, dark skin shit. That don't got nothing to do with me. My mama told me I'm not supposed to participate in that. And I'm gonna take what my mama told me to do over your hatred any day because it's
There
gonna
you go.
always benefit me because it always has.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I got one more question.
Come on.
Turn up.
Okay. Bruh. Does is there any relation between ISIS and a dragon?
Well, it depends on what you mean by relation because all of the women that was the matriarchs was the queens who knighted the Nagas king's king. I mean, you can't get around it. And the Isis seat is the sacerdotal seat of the earth that's moved all over the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So traveling on the earth's ley lines is riding the dragon. And if the sacerdotal seat went from Isis in Kemet to Inanna in Central America to Kali Ma in India, she'd been riding the dragon the whole time. And the dragon is the symbol of how the golden one traveled through the bloodline.
Mm.
It's the Nagas kings, the seven-headed serpent.
Yeah, and what they speak about in Revelation, in the book of Revelation. And you have Ishel, the Mayan tradition, the jaguar goddess, the goddess fertility, who represents the moon, are seen with rabbit, she'll be seen with a seashell. But she
Yeah.
was the crusher of the serpent gods. She stand before the sun is behind her because she greater than all of the sun gods. She's at birth, and her descendants will be persecuted. That's Book of Revelation.
And that's the same story Kali Ma and her wish list is called Thuggy, the thugs.
Yeah,
But in
and
California they call Crips and Bloods.
there you go. Turn up.
Right? So the Thuggy was the ones that they wanted to kill. Why did they want to kill them? Because they would rob the tax collectors who was imposing up on the wealth of the people of the land, and the matriarchy prohibits the government from being a parasite on the people.
Right.
Yeah,
When the government become a parasite on the people, you can go back to the Constitution and tell you this. It's the responsibility of people to develop a new government that's not parasitic. And the wise ones know that the smartest thing to do is restore the original order that made it run flawlessly for eons, which was the matriarchy. the whole war in heaven, war fall in the earth was a war on the matriarchy. Right? It's the war on the woman. Why do you think they tell you in Revelation that the woman was about to give birth from the dragon was waiting to devour her child?
Right. Yeah.
Right? They tell
That's
you
what
that
the
the war is on
dragon
the woman.
was. It was the 7-headed dragon who was red.
Yeah. And then they tell you that on her head she had 12 stars, right?
Yeah.
That's called the daughters of Isis.
Yeah. And
she's 13. She sit in the center of the 12 zodiac as Isis. Right.
Yeah,
she's the 13th fruit.
Representing the virgin. Yeah.
Right. So then when she in the center, each one of them get an opportunity to become Isis as they recycle the seed. That's how we get around the world. Because each one of the 12 daughters is represented by a different province of the planet.
Okay.
Right. So the first place,
my bad.
The first place was the original temple of Isis that's in Arizona.
Canyon.
Right. Yeah. But because we had a nuclear war, we blew that bitch up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you ain't just got the temple of Isis there now. You got the temple of Horus, the temple of Osiris, the temple of Set. Right? They all over there. We know they there.
Yeah.
But don't nobody want to talk about it though.
Yeah.
Because that'll be exposing who we are and how long we really been here.
Mm-hmm.
See, and so it's always a redemption process in play. The dragon bloodlines is the bloodlines that carry the royal DNA.
There you go. Bloodlines of the Goa series. Man. Check it out. Bloodlines of the Goa civilization book.
So you got two staffs. One got one serpent. That's patriarchy, the fatherland. The other one got two serpents.
Two serpents coming and they're intertwining together. Yeah.
Right.
So once you realize that all of the dinosaurs were female. They haven't found a male dinosaur yet. And guess what they used to call them before they was called dinosaurs? They used to call them dragons.
Dragon, yeah.
They made up the word dinosaur, which means terrible lizard, to replace the word dragon.
Yeah, and they hid a lot of the bones that they found were really giant remains. And we found that out through what they call the bone wars in history. The bone wars where everybody was trying to find the missing link that Darwin was speaking of. Yeah. So it had something called a bone war. And through the bone wars, they were going through the mounds and shit, and they'll find these lords, and they came back and brought it out as dinosaurs. And then they came back and told us that, okay, that part of history was false.
You know what made them start looking for fossil finds, trying to find the evolutionary path of humans? Because they read the Sumerian text, and they were trying to prove that there was a connection and that there's no way that these people made humans, so that they can hold up their creation theory.
Yeah.
But when they kept running to what's called missing links, right? When they started running the missing links, this is genetic alterations.
Yeah, that's where the science came in, anthropology and all that shit there, to get an answer that they couldn't answer. But Thomas Jefferson, he was real big on it. He got a lot of his information from the French, because the French, like I said, they were in a lot of territories up and down the Mississippi and things like this, in places where the mounds were. Ohio, a lot of the German boys and shit coming out of there. So when they were trying to find the mound builders, the Masons hid the true knowledge. Even the writings that they found, that shit, John Smith saying it was gold tablets and all that. They really did find gold tablets. If you read Thomas Jefferson, he speaks about it. And Quincy Adams said that his mother and his father was Indians. Thomas Jefferson spoke different Indian languages, I think over 40, yeah. And he was a melanated man. But yeah, this sister Isis, OG, I want to say this here. When she was a child, her mother took her to see the Omeg head. What do that mean? And Isis is her real name. So and then her mother took her to see the Omeg head as a child. Um, what when you hear that? What's going on with this young lady right here?
You ever heard to touch sacred ground? That
The
term,
top
Isis.
to touch sacred ground, means that you have to go back to somewhere that was very important to your ancestors. Today they call it a pilgrimage or a hajj. Allah wasn't the original center of worship of Mecca. Allah was. That's why the black stone is a whole vagina. And the cube represents the uterus. But it's laying flat. That's the woman flat on her back. Not supposed to be flat, it's supposed to be on the corner. Because when it's on the corner and you spin it, it don't look like a square, it look like a circle, representing the womb. But when they took control of the woman by putting this fake ass moon up here and hijacking her menstrual cycle so that she can't pathogenically procreate and that she had to have 12, 13 cycles a year, right? She learned how to use that energy and then they got mad. Right? And now they don't want to honor the 13 and the divine feminine no more. All of a sudden, 13 the bad luck number now.
Hey,
That's
is that why they only talk about the 12 tribes of Israel when they had a sister, which was the 13th
the
one? They don't talk about
Diana. Her name was Diana. This is her name, though. Her name was Diana.
You feel me?
What was Wonder Woman's name?
Diana. Yeah.
Ain't none of that stuff haphazard. It might look like it, but
Diana went against the serpent worshippers. Yeah. And yeah, she made her demise going against it. But yeah, that was deep. But I asked that question because you had gave me the same answer. Similar, you just touching grounds where you already been. You just gotta go there to remember to bring the information back to the people. But as a youth, you know what I'm saying, her being taken at a young age. Yeah, I thought it was something in there.
You know, one of the things that my mama made sure she did was let me run barefoot in Mississippi clay dirt when I was little. I went to my grandfather's house where he used to live at. Right, she took me to all that.
That's my people are from, of course, Madison, Mississippi. Y'all know how that went, traveling up to Chicago, and I've been waiting to get to Mississippi and touch ground. I've driven through multiple times, but to actually be there and smell the air and feel the ground, I haven't got the chance yet. But that's the next.
Man, I hated to leave. The only place I ever hated to leave, more than I hated to leave Mississippi, was Chicago.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Hey, look, I love Chicago like I love Pretty Woman.
Yeah. Shout to the shop, man. We got Miss. I am Miss Love. How you doing, Miss Love? Where you calling from?
DC.
Okay, DC in the building.
Yes, born and raised Washington, DC. It's an honor to be on here with you, Brother Top Cat. I appreciate everything you're doing. You too, Uncle Rod, Chief Pontiac. I've been watching you all for a long time. And when I say I've really been watching you all, the ancestors brought you all to me. Although you all came to me through the TV, through the airwaves, I asked for the ones that's on my wave. And you all came, just like I didn't go look for you. You all appeared. And Uncle Rod, you kept appearing. And I was like, okay, let me click on to see what he talking about. And I found you on Young Elder's channel. And I've been watching you since. Of course, you Top Cats. I came across you from Dane channel and came to find out I was vibing with Dane again. He came to me through the ancestors and found out he was from DC as well. So with me being born and raised in DC, Uncle Rod, I've heard you speak a lot about Crispus Attucks. Crispus Attucks Park was behind my house where I was born and raised and grew up at. And when you mentioned the name John D, we had a teacher that taught us karate, and his name was John D. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you too. Oh yes, you touching bases. I'm letting you touch these bases right quick.